So this happened about 6-7 years ago when I used to work in a grocery store. I worked in a department that prepared pre-made hot and cold meals. One of our most popular product were rotisserie chickens, which sold out very quickly on a busy day. One Friday in particular, I was working closing shift and a customer walks up to the counter, and here's how the conversation went, as best as I remember it. OP, hi, how can I help you? C, customer, hi, I'll have a rotisserie chicken. OP, oh, I'm really sorry sir, we just sold our last one not too long ago and we won't be making more for tonight. C, what do you mean there no more? It's not even 6 p.m. yet? OP, again, I'm sorry but unfortunately. Cuts me off. C, you've ruined my supper. What am I going to do now? What are you going to do for me now? His face was super red and angry at this point lol. OP, next time you can call in advance to reserve. This man gave a death stare and without even blinking proceeded to throw his handheld basket about 15 feet in the air. Before the basket has he even dropped back down, he starts storming off out of the store. Then a split second later the basket falls into a display nearby, thankfully didn't fall on someone. I simply heard him angrily mumble a few words while walking out of the store. Man, I don't miss retail work. People can go from 0 to 100 in an instant. So, I started my first retail job this week. I have worked other customer-facing jobs before, but this is the first one that's explicitly retail. It took until my second shift to meet my first unreasonable customer, longer than I expected tbh. I work at a clothing retailer and I was manning the fitting rooms. We have a strict one-person, dressing room policy, for loss prevention reasons, which we have clear signs about at the entrance. Here comes our Karen, with her teenage daughter. I greet them, ask how many items they have, grab a number and lead them to the dressing room. Girl goes in, mother attempts to follow. Me, I'm sorry ma'am, but only one person can be in the fitting rooms at a time. You can take a seat here while your daughter tries on her clothes. Karen, but I want to go in. Me, pointing to the sign, I'm sorry but this is the store policy. Karen, but my daughter has anxiety, it is documented. Me, it is beyond my power to make exceptions to this. However, I can radio my manager and you are welcome to talk to them about this issue. Karen, this is discriminative against mentally ill people and I hope you know that. I was like okay well I still can't do much, so I just told them the same about it not being in my power to do anything about something that's store policy. At this point the daughter had already closed the door and I had other customers waiting for me, so I left it at that. Few minutes later they leave, daughter puts the clothes on the rail, mother comes up to me. Karen, just so you know, this is very discriminative against the mentally ill, I expected better from this store. Me, as I said previously, it is the store policy. However, you are more than welcome to discuss this with a manager. Karen, stepping well into my personal space, no, I don't want that. I want you to feel bad about this. Me, alright, have a great day. Honestly, it was only this last line that baffled me. Years back at a previous store I worked at, I had a customer I'll call Lamb Cutlery. He was an older gentleman who loved lamb. When it was on sale, maybe once every 4-6 weeks, he would happily ask me for fresh, custom cuts of lamb chops, which I would do for him. Unfortunately, when lamb was at its normal price, he would throw a fit. He would shout about how ridiculously expensive it was, sometimes causing a scene where even his friends and other customers would tell him to calm down. He would demand I reduce the price or give him a coupon, and every time I stood firm with a no. Usually my store director would have to come down, and thankfully he had my back and wouldn't give in, but aside from not getting a discount, Larry faced no real consequences. Time passed and I was transferred to another store, but I kept in touch with many of my co-workers and would hear of the time Lamb Cutlery went too far. The store had a live lobster tank out on the sales floor near the deli counter. There were several signs telling customers not to put their hands in the tank and to ask a clerk for help. As anyone who's worked in a grocery store can tell you, most people lose their ability to read as soon as they walk in, and Lamb Cutlery was no exception. Elbow deep in the cold, salty water, he was grabbing each lobster he could, when a deli clerk asked him to take his hands out. Surprisingly he obliged, but had a mischievous smirk on his face. Larry then took a few steps to a large barrel of pickles that customers could buy individually. He opened the barrel and stuck his lobster water-soaked hands into the brine. The clerk immediately called the store director down, who had now had enough with Larry's antics. All the pickles had to be thrown out, the barrel had to be completely decontaminated, and Larry was kicked out and banned from the store for a year. Years later I still shop there sometimes, and I have yet to hear any further incidents with Lamb Cup Larry, and would like to think he's learned his lesson. In the checkouts where I work, items with chemicals or strong medication are age restricted to 18, so whenever someone in the self-checkout scans one, I go to their register and do an age check. Well, last night, one guy was buying something like fuel injector cleaner, and sure enough I got the age check alert. This convo ensued. Me, just gotta quickly verify that you're over 18, sir. Him, for what? It must be the corn in my cart here. Me, the what in your cart? Him, the corn. Me, oh. I heard ... something very different and was thinking I did not think we sold that here. Him, playfully, well were you gonna go buy some if it was sold here? Me, nah ooh. Him, good girl. We both got a chuckle out of it after the fact. Customer came in today. Short one here but I'm still amazed about it. Happened a few days ago. And #X200B. I work retail and at our shop we have a click and collect system. This one customer comes in asking for his click and collect order and shows me an email on his phone, pretty normal. I look at it and the email is from 3 years ago. I ask him about it and he goes on about how he must have forgotten to pick it up because none of his employees can find it. Obviously we don't have a click and collect order sitting there from 3 years ago, so he says he'll leave me with all the info and call the store back in a few hours. I look through our system and find that someone had picked it up a month after the order was done. When he called back I told him this and he said he would chase it up on his end. And #X200B. This happened in the first 15 minutes of opening the shop and set the tone for the rest of the day but was the one that I can't forget.